All right, everybody, welcome back to the newest episode of the Team Building Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Cuney. I am lead coach for Elite Real Estate Systems and been a partner with Jeff Cohn now for the last 12 years, which if you ask me is probably 11 too long. Oh, I hope Jeff listens to this one, right? That's always fun. But I have an amazing guest for you today. I'm amazed every single time that I get a chance to hang out with this guy, Byron Thompson. And he is here at KW Elite. He joined us. How long have you been with us, Byron?
We joined back in November of 2021. So
you haven't even been here a year yet.
Haven't even made it a year yet.
Nice. Okay,
Almost
so
our anniversary.
You guys are gonna like this. Okay, so we're gonna. I'm gonna ask Byron to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about him, and then you guys are gonna be astonished at the growth that he is going to tell you about. We were lucky to find such a talented group of people, right, as
Absolutely.
The Meraki team.
Yeah.
They were actually a team over at Berkshire Hathaway where we used to be, right? Right across the street.
Exactly right.
Yeah, right across the street. And they're absolutely killing it. If I remember right, it was there's a group of three of you, right, that made up?
Correct, yep.
Perfect. And you were all in production?
Yep, so three of us all in production. So it'd be me and my other two co-owners, my partners
There
at
you
this
go.
point.
Yep.
So me, Jack Harvey, Eric Caraher.
Perfect.
And the three of us were all just individual producers
Okay.
selling as many houses as we could possibly find.
Gotcha.
Right?
So you guys were, what does Jeff call that? It's the, you guys were kind of like the co-op team, right? Did you eat what you kill?
Oh yeah, eat what you kill and
Okay.
Let's share the bills.
Share the
right?
bill. There you
Yeah,
go. Sharing
100%.
expenses. Love
Yep.
it. Okay. All right. Perfect. So you guys have been at KW Elite less than a year. And you guys have decided to grow beyond the co-op team, right? Mm-hmm. And now you've started to create a team here.
Exactly right.
Okay, so before we get into that, because that's actually the best part, before we get into that, I want to hear more about Byron before the Meraki Group.
Yep.
And then I want to hear about how the Meraki Group, which is the name of your team, came to be.
Yep.
And then I want to talk about what's happened since you guys moved over here about 9 months ago.
I love it. All right. Well, I got a lot of answers for you. So
Perfect.
Be patient
Fire
with me.
away.
So, all right. So again, obviously, I'm Byron Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to thank you again. Like, I couldn't be happier to be here. So I'm excited to kind of share this. But me, who am I? I am an athlete, born and bred.
Perfect.
I actually came to Nebraska to play basketball. So I played at a small school down in Lincoln.
Okay.
Went there, studied business, ended up getting 2 degrees, got a business degree and a physics degree.
Nice.
Because I thought all my life, I was like, I just want to be an engineer.
So you're
I'm
not
good at
very
math.
bright, is what I'm hearing.
I'm
2 degrees and one of them is physics. I love it.
Really slow, especially when it comes to talking.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought all my life I was going to be an engineer. I was like,
Right.
I'm good at math. That's the one thing I know I can do. I'm going to go do that. So I did 2 engineering internships in college.
Okay.
Hated it. It was not for me. Great opportunities, great companies, great stuff. But again, just not a fit for who I am.
Right.
So I lucked into a retail management internship.
A retail with your physics degree.
Yeah,
you went
with
into
my
retail management. Okay, fire away.
Correct.
Yep.
And when I say lucked into, like it was absolutely on accident. I walked into the biggest lecture hall in our entire school. It literally seats 500 people.
Okay.
There's a presentation going on, and there's presenters, and there's literally one other person in the room, and then I walk in. So I'm like, well, I can't be the guy who now walks out. Like, this would be really rude. And so I sit down and I listen to the presentation, and somewhere halfway through the presentation, I'm like, this sounds awesome. How do I do this?
Right.
So that
Okay.
leads me down a path of joining retail management. I joined Target.
Okay.
And so I do a internship with Target.
Okay.
That leads into a 5-year career managing Target stores. So
Oh my God. Okay, so managing Target stores like what, in the Midwest?
yeah, so
Like
all
region,
in,
or?
all in. It began in Lincoln, so I did 2 years in Lincoln,
Okay.
and then they asked me to move to Omaha, and that's actually how I landed here in Omaha.
Okay.
I've been here ever since. This is back in 2015 when I moved to Omaha and
Okay.
actually started. Up
And then you
here.
spent 3 more years in
Spent-
Omaha.
3 years
in charge
in
of
Omaha
Target.
running Target stores. I got an opportunity to run a underperforming store.
Okay.
We got it up, doing really, really well, and then I bought a house because I was doing well with Target.
Right.
And my real estate agent says, "Hey, you might be pretty good at this. Why don't you come take a look at it?"
Okay.
So this is Jack, by the way.
Oh, so Jack was, who is now
my
your
realtor.
partner.
Yep.
Okay.
Jack was my realtor. He sold me my first house, and then he asked me for about a 12-month period, on and off, says, "Hey, come see this opportunity." And I said, "No, I'm good. I got a great opportunity with Target. I'm okay.
Right.
Not interested."
Yep.
And he says, "Okay, we're going to start a real estate team. You should really come look at this." I was like, that sounds cool, but again, I got a good thing going. I'm not interested.
Yep.
And then he says, "Listen, you got to come look at this. This is going to be bigger than I even think it's going to be. And like, you'd be a fool to not at least come take a look. So 2018, I come take a look. And it just makes so much sense to me. At this time, I happened to have got back into reading, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's talking about real estate and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, honestly, besides buying this house, I know nothing about real estate. So let's just take a look. Let's go see what's going on. And what better way to actually learn than to be doing it? And I'm one of those you're all in or you're all out kind of people. That's the athlete in me. Right? So,
by the way, I got a little nervous when you said I was an athlete. I was waiting to hear something like race car driver or something like. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to give him a hard time. Now he's like, nah, that's basketball.
No, basketball. Yeah. Cool sports. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. Yes.
Yes. So, no, I'm all in or all out. So in 2018, I quit my job and said, hey, 2 weeks, I'm out. I'm starting real estate. I show up my first day of real estate, and this is the birth of Meraki. So this is early in the days of Meraki.
And what year was this, 2018?
This is 2018. So Jack and Eric had just begun working together at the end of 2017, 2018. They're starting to build this team. Okay, so they've actually already got a few people on the team when I join, and I show up eager, and I'm like, I'm going to impress everybody. My first day, I show up at 6:30 a.m. I'm like, I'm going to be in the office. I'm going to get so much done before anybody even shows up. It's going to be amazing. I show up at 6:30, and I wait. And then 8 o'clock rolls around, and I'm waiting for my trainer to come in so that we can kind of get started with the day. And then as I'm waiting for my trainer, I look down at the clock, and I realize it's already 10 o'clock. And then it's 12 o'clock, and then it's 2 o'clock. 2 p.m., nobody has showed up in the real estate office. It's my first day.
This is the Meraki real estate office.
This is Meraki Realty Group. We have our own office.
You guys are killing it.
Huge corner office in the sky. At this point, Jack and Eric are already several years into their career. They're producing lots and lots of deals. And so my first day, I show up, nobody comes. Nobody shows up, and I'm like, okay, maybe they forgot it was my first day. You know, I'm a trainer. Because think about this, I'm coming from the Fortune 500 world where there's orientations, there's
lot 30, more structure.
There's 30, 60, 90-day onboarding. There's all kinds of stuff. There's training. Like, you know exactly what you're going to do. Like, come day 5 of your job, right? So I'm waiting for this whole red carpet process to roll out. And long story short, as you probably know in real estate, it doesn't come. It never shows up. And so now I'm like, okay, how do we figure this out? So this is the beginning of my real estate career, and it kind of launches me on a road of instant, like, entrepreneurial style learning, right? Which is very experiential.
You got to figure it out.
Figure it out. Let's YouTube, let's Google, let's ask some top producers in the office, hey, can I shadow you? Can I learn from you? And this sets me on a journey of learning, coaching, and development, and actually learning what is the real estate job? What am I supposed to do all day? Because I went to my broker, and he was like, oh, you do an open house, and you'll be able to get clients. And I was like, okay, well, when do I do open houses? He's like, you do them on Sunday, don't do them on Saturday, because that's when the Huskers play. And I said, okay, I'll do them on Sundays. What do I do till Sunday? Like, I got a lot of time till Sunday. Like, it's only Tuesday, and I'm like trying to figure this out. So, again, that just leads me on this whole path of learning, and like, where do clients come from? And so I'm actually from Denver, Colorado. So was in Denver, moved to Lincoln for college, then moved to Omaha, and I was in retail. So I was literally, you don't meet anybody in retail. You work in your store, and that's all the people that you ever see ever.
So you have a super large sphere of influence.
So my sphere of influence and where all of these deals are about to come from is about this big. And now I've quit that salary job, and I'm like, okay, now what?
You threw your hat. You burned the boats, threw your hat over the fence?
The boats. And it was actually the best thing that could have ever happened for me, because what happened was it forced me to go out and learn the way that they got business. So Jack and Eric, who have lived in Omaha their whole lives, had big databases that were able to pour them back deals, but I had to cut my teeth prospecting. So I did tons and tons of phone calls, cold calls, for sale by owners, expireds, you name it, I did it. And I really found my niche in for sale by owners and got really, really good at that prospecting game. And so 2018, obviously kind of got off to a slow start trying to figure out what to do. Ended up closing 7 or 8 deals that year. But the following year took 40 listings. So it was like, it was a very interesting progression of just learning what to do. And then once I figured out,
yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. And just really showed me what it takes to be an entrepreneur as far as the experiential learning versus like the classroom style learning that I was used to in the world of physics. So that's how kind of my origin story. And then obviously at that time, Meraki was pretty small. So it was Jack, Eric, and then they had 4 other agents already, including myself.
Okay.
So at this time, it was a little bit of a community team, but again, we didn't have a ton of structure.
Right.
There wasn't the training. It was just 2 really high producers and a lot of people who were hoping to learn from them and trying to learn from them.
Yep.
And basically, over the course of the next year, I came to these guys and I was like, hey, I'm closing deals at a high rate. And they're like, how come you're doing this, but our other guys can't figure this out? What are we missing? Mm-hmm. And I was like, guys, you have to understand, like, I went out and got a lot of this information because I was just really curious about it and I just really wanted to know. I can't say that everybody's going to want to do this. What are we providing to them in order to get them to know everything that you know, I know, and he knows? He's like, well, we talked to him, but we didn't really have a system.
Right. We come in at 2 when we're done making our money.
Correct.
Right? And then, we give them a few pearls of wisdom here and there.
Exactly right. Right.
Yep.
So it was really just like they created a phenomenal community, but we didn't really have any systems of any kind.
Sure.
Right. And so me coming from the Fortune 500 world, I'm like, this is somewhere where I can provide tons of benefit to you guys as a partner. And then obviously you guys have tons of real estate experience that I don't yet have. So maybe we should work together and figure this out. And that's kind of where the real marriage of like a really traditional business systems meet the entrepreneur world and the necessary experience of real estate. And we were able to marry those 2 things, and beautiful partnerships formed ever since.
Okay, and it's so not quite. And this is a perfect example of what we always talk about at ERS. Is one of the biggest mistakes people make is they have a position, right? And then they try and hire to the position.
Yeah.
And they make so many errors, or they can't find the right person to fit into that spot. So what they end up doing is they get worn down, and they finally take the person that says yes instead of the right person.
Correct.
Right? Then they wonder why that person's burnt out, why they don't get the results they want, right? All of these things, and they're doing the same thing over again in 6 months. Yeah. You are a perfect example of someone who they brought in that was talented and then created the position around the talent.
Correct.
Right?
100%.
And so I wish people would do that. Always be looking for talent, right? What position are they for? I don't even know. We'll figure one out. If they're talented, right?
That's it. Invite them into
our world. Take advantage of their strengths.
Amen.
So I love that. So, so it's 2019.
Yep.
You guys are all now partners.
Correct.
Right?
So
and
2019, we're partners. We're running strong. And this is where we really start to dig in. And I think every team leader out there has probably gone through this evolution at some point or another, which is as I look at the numbers and the money that the team is actually able to generate,
right?
I could make more money in less time with less headache just selling my own houses.
Said every team leader ever.
Every team leader ever, I think, has gone through this evolution at some point or another, right?
Yep.
They really look at it and they're like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm shutting this thing down.
Well, actually, let me pause right there. They don't even look at the numbers to know that they could have made more money in less time just being a real estate agent.
You know what? In fairness, so my partners were those agents who hadn't looked at the numbers.
Sure,
but me coming from that other world, I was like, let's just take a look at it and figure this out. And I was like, you guys realize you're bankrolling this team off of your commissions. I was like, you could keep all your commissions and not have to have the time spent coaching people, which we're not necessarily doing at a high level anyway. It might make sense for us to boil this thing down.
Yep.
So in 2019, going into 2020, that's exactly what we did. So we called it the 3-headed monster. What we did is we boiled it all down. We told our agents, hey, we're really sorry. We're not providing the level of service that you guys really need in order to be successful.
It's us, not you.
So we need, that's what it was.
Right,
it's the truth of what it was. It's like, we need to figure out exactly what it is that we even do systematically before we could present it to other people. So what we need to do is we boiled everything down. So we had our big corner office. We had it built out. It was fancy. We had a 16-foot across, 12 feet high, stacked stone wall. And we didn't get like, just like your average stones. Like we went to the granite store and we got the nicest stones that we could find. And we put our beautiful sign up with our beautiful fireplace in our beautiful office. And it cost us lots and lots of money and made us absolutely nothing. So we sold that office. We let all of our team go. We set them free, honestly, because a lot of them are doing much, much better than they were doing with us at the time. And we
when you say you sold that office, you saddled somebody else with that office?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Just making sure. It sounds beautiful.
That's fair.
But yes, absolutely.
But man, it was a really nice office.
It was.
So we boiled it down to the basics, and we just said, guys, what do we do at a high level? And let's figure out what it is that we do.
Okay.
So again, we just boiled it down. We got down to the skills of how are we achieving as agents? Where are we actually getting our business from? And we were able to build some really, really great systems around like, okay, now instead of you just being a great producer, I could make another one of you And now it's time for us to go out and let's go find the assistant so we can do more deals. And now we can start to save up some more money and see if we can make it make more sense to do this team thing again. And when we launch it next time, we'll launch it the right way. And this is our message back in 2019 going into 2020.
Okay.
And then obviously 2020 was a surprise for the whole world.
Right. So yeah, and I love this because this is parallel to us opening up the KW Elite, right?
Yeah.
Coming over to open the brokerage and right in 2020, right?
Correct.
When we did, yeah, so that was crazy. But so, okay, I love the fact that you guys decided to boil it down. We have so many of our ERS clients who come in with these teams of like, hey, I got 4 or 5 agents. And then after about 6 months of being with us, they're like, yeah, I got rid of everybody. We're starting over. Right? But then I love it because 6 months later, they're like, yeah, I got 14 agents and we're doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
And it is because it's all about what do I need to do? What is the best use of my time? Because you can leverage everything, but can you leverage it and still create production and profit? And that's right. You've got to figure out how to do that. So, okay, so you guys create Meraki. You guys are killing it. COVID's hitting. What led you guys to decide that, hey, you know what? Our brokerage where we're at now might not be the right spot. Let's come over and take a look at KW Elite.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Okay. So basically, obviously, through 2020, we decided to stay small, stay lean, because there's just so much uncertainty.
Yeah,
right? Let's stay lean, but let's stay in production. And in 2020, what we figured out was that even without meeting clients, we had found a way to meet with buyers over Zoom and get them so clear on what it is that they were trying to do that we would go out and show 1 to 3 houses and everybody, Andy, I mean everybody, would make an offer, and not just like a let's do 10,000 under asking price offer.
Yep.
People would make competitive winning offers after they see 1 house. Most people wouldn't even like consider making an offer, but they were making winning offers after 1 house, 3 houses. And we were like, okay, we've really got something here. We've got something we can teach now. And at this time, we had really gotten focused on the numbers.
Yep.
This is really where all this conversation goes to is we gotten focused on the numbers and we said, hey, we are now more immensely profitable because we are directly involved in every transaction.
Yep.
We don't have hardly any overhead. It's just the 3 of us.
Yep.
And we're just paying like our rent and some of our dues and stuff. And then we look at how much money we were pouring into our brokerage. And at the time, I won't say the exact number, but it was multiple 6 figures we had given our broker. And we were like, we haven't even been to the office this year. Like, what is it that we're really getting back for this multiple 6 figures that we're pouring in? And as we really sat down and like asked ourselves this answer over like the 3 to 6 months, we could never find anything concrete that said this place is actually pouring us back into or pouring us back the value for what we're giving in. And it's like, with this money that we've spent, we could have hired X number of people and done numerous additional things.
It makes you sick, doesn't it?
A little bit. That's literally what happened.
But you learned, right? You learned
exactly
through
right.
it. We did the same thing, and we're not going to bring up numbers because that's the past.
100%. That's fair.
But, right, we did that as well. And what we found and what we teach, right, on our team leader calls on Thursdays with ERS, I get people reach out all the time. Hey, I got this option. I'm talking to 3 different brokerages. Which one? Which one do you think I should move to? And I say, I don't even want to know the names, right, of the brokerages. I don't care. I say, here's the deal. You want to find a brokerage. Everybody always wants to know, what's this brokerage going to do to help me, right? Or are they expensive? And I said, here's the deal. I don't care about that stuff. I go, I know anything a brokerage is going to do for me, I can do better on my own.
Amen.
Okay? So I know that right out of the gate. So I don't care what they're offering you. And they're like, oh. And I said, and here's the other thing. I don't even mind if somebody wants to be a little bit expensive for me to be there, if they're willing to get out of my way.
Correct.
Okay? Because you will find somebody who's super cheap, but they got all these rules and regulations, right?
Lots of red tape.
Because they want to keep you there. I will sign you into an X amount of years contract, all this stuff. And I'm like, you can do everything they can offer you better. Will they get out of your way and allow you to reach the growth that you know you can, right? And they're like, oh, right? Because that's all it is. It's will they get out? Now, if you can find one that's actually going to partner with you and help you, right? That's the unicorn.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, on average, when you run into the run-of-the-mill brokerage, are they just going to get out of my way? Amen. And that's what brought or enticed us to come here.
Yes.
Is when we heard things like, there will be no rules. Perfect. We don't need anybody to hold our hand. Let us go.
That's it.
Right?
Take the reins off and let's go.
I love it. So perfect. Okay, so now you guys have decided you're killing it. everything's great, and the numbers just weren't working.
Correct.
Right? Since again, every other team leader that's listening to this is like, that sounds familiar.
Been there, yep.
Right? So you guys decided to come over. One thing I knew just the first few times I talked to you guys, right? And when listening to your comments, what you were saying, I was like, okay, they are so aligned, just in the, you know what I mean, just the thought process. And I was like, I love this, right?
Yes.
So I knew you guys were going to be you're already super successful. I knew you were going to be even more successful, right?
Yeah,
because you were now put in the environment where you could be.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So now when you did that, what is your, because you just came over, 3 ballers, right? You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
You guys came over, you're killing it. What does, and 9 months later now, what does your team look like? Like, what have you grown into?
Yeah, so when we came over, we were challenged to say, how can you actually, over the next 3 to 5 years, get to the point where you can take a step back out of the business, where you're no longer in production, but you are still providing this immense amount of value to the world, right?
Yep.
So that's actually what enticed us to join KW Elite, was that kind of challenge. And obviously, that's not the kind of conversations you're having with 99% of brokers out there, right? So at this point, what we've been able to do is we've grown from 3 individual contributors to 14 agents. And at the time, we were doing about 80, I think we closed 82 deals back in 2019 for almost 40 million, or just over 40 million.
So between the 3 of you guys?
Between 3 of us,
so right, okay.
So we went from that production to the point now where we're on pace to do about 150, and I'm actually no longer in production. Jack is no longer in production. Eric is still in production because he's coaching, and we wanted to keep somebody in the grind so that we had an example to provide to our agents, who are now our clients. Right?
Gotcha. Yep.
So again, 14 agents.
Wait, say that last part again. Your agents are now your what?
Our agents are now our clients.
There you go.
Right?
I just want to make sure everybody hears that, right? Because they need to hear that. They need to have that type of mindset, right?
100%.
Okay, so you and Jack are out of production, working on the business instead of in it.
Correct.
And now you still got Eric kind of straddling, right? He's working on the business with you, but he's also working in the business to make sure that you keep the numbers up, because this is all a new thing, and you want to make sure that you don't just throw that out.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And you mentioned something earlier, is that like when you have talented people, like the roles will really show up as you go through and as you begin to build. So naturally what happened was Jack is a phenomenal attractor of people. Like, I don't know how he does it. I couldn't, like, it's one of those things where early in our career, it's like, I can't duplicate who you are, but like we can duplicate something that we're doing. So like, what is it? I can't duplicate who he is. He's just an amazing attractor of people. So naturally, his role evolved as CEO, team leader, and he is our main recruiter.
Love it.
So he just goes out, and his job is don't touch paperwork, don't touch any of this stuff. You go out, talk to people, bring them into our world. And when you bring them into our world, they're going to meet me, they're going to meet Eric, and they're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of value that we're able to provide them. Again, these are our clients. We have to provide them tremendous amount of value.
Absolutely.
So that was one of our basically credos as we came in. By the way, just so that people have a little bit of context of like, what is Meraki?
Yes.
So Meraki is a Greek word.
Okay.
And it means to put your heart or your soul into your work.
Love it.
Okay. And so what that manifested for us was that we were committed to providing more value than anybody else possibly could, even if it meant that it was going to hurt our margins slightly. Right?
Gotcha.
So if it cost us a little bit of money, but we could provide more value, we were going to do that option that provided more value.
Leave no doubt.
Leave no doubt. We were going to be undeniably the tremendous value provider above and beyond what anybody else could do. So that was our mission.
Okay.
And again, that evolved to letting Jack now move into, I just recruit. Okay. So now what I was able to do is I take a step back out of production and I say, let me set up these business systems that come from the Fortune 500 world. Let me set up a 30, 60, 90-day process. So now in our first 30 days, every agent who comes onto our team, they have to build a database. Because this is one of the things that even we missed as high-producing realtors was you've got to produce a database that's going to kick you deals effortlessly, even if you didn't prospect, right? So how can we get everybody to begin that from day one so that they're not trying to backtrack 6 years into the career and be like, well, I haven't talked to that person since we closed back in.
Then you feel bad. I'm like,
now you feel bad about that outreach.
I don't want to call. Right, exactly. Yes. And real quick, and I want to get to this because this is one of my favorite parts. But what I want people to make sure they heard those numbers correctly, because we talk to teams all over the place and they're like, how many units does your team do? Oh, we do 200 units. Well, how many units do you do as a team lead? And they're like, oh, well, I do 118, right? And so now they do 118, and they got 5, 6, 7 agents who all do 8 apiece, kind of a thing. I want you took 2/3 of your team,
Correct,
that was doing 80 some units a year, and took them out of production. And now you have increased your production up to what, 100 and
Yeah, we're almost double, so we're on pace. We'll probably do 140 to 150 by the end of the year.
doubled while taking 2 of your team leads out of production.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody understood that, because they're like, I can't stop producing because I need the money to float my team,
100%.
right? So perfect. Okay, now everybody's like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, right? Now they're really listening. They were listening before. Now they just turned it up a little bit.
100%. And that was a tremendous breakthrough for us, right? That was a huge limiting belief that we had. It was like, man, how are we going to feed our families? Like, we built our lives around the commissions that we were able to create. And like, how are we able to do that? And
like you said, you went all in.
We went all in. We built it the right way. And because we built it the right way, we built it with systems, and we built it on value. We could offer commission splits that made sense. We could, we could get people into production faster than we could 2 years prior, when we didn't have anything to offer people.
Right.
We didn't have a way to actually get them, a way to prove that when they came in, this is what you have to do, and this is what it will yield. Show up, follow me, come with me, kids. You're going to be rich one day. You know?
I love it. Yes. So, yes. Stop by to pick up your lottery ticket at the front desk, right?
Correct.
And it's a guaranteed winner. I love that. Okay, so one thing I just from seeing it firsthand, right? The growth, and I love the fact that it's like I get impressed when I speak with you or Jack or Eric, and then it's the next time it's like, oh, that was real. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't fake. It's just that's how you are every time I see you.
100%.
And so now after 9 months, it's just like, yep, that's who they are.
Yep.
Right? Because everybody's got that face they put on, and then it's what they really are, right? And it's everything's been 100% genuine every time when I meet you guys. So I love that. And ERS is we go out across the country and we interview these team leaders, right, of these successful teams. They're doing great, and we love the fact that we have an amazing, successful team right here with us in the same building.
Absolutely.
And so a little bit what I want to talk about is going forward, ERS is looking to partner with the Meraki team, right? And what we want to do is, we know that you guys do such an amazing job, and you're so aligned with the things that ERS teaches, is we want to take some of that teaching, right, that you guys do, incorporate it with ERS, with our teaching and our coaching on a weekly basis, but then also when we partner with people across the country, right?
100%.
Because we all know that Jeff's talking about, hey, what are we going to do when the commission goes away? And we're throwing out ancillary partnerships, right? Lead gen partnerships, all of those things. Well, we want to partner with teams across the country and brokerages and say, hey, we'll put a Meraki group in your brokerage, right?
100%, yeah.
And we have it tightened down so much, right, that we know it will work and it will have success, because there's that evolution, right? There's like, I don't know what to do, so I'll ask somebody else. Okay. Then I asked somebody else, and I tried to do it on my own, and I was like, oh crap, I got 38 questions now. What happens next? So then you hired coaching and training. Then the coaching and training happens. You're like, okay, I know what to do. I know when to do it. I know how to do it. It's still really hard. Will you do it with me? Right? And so then that's the next evolution in the step. And it's like, and at ERS, you know what, we're starting to think, we're like, you know what, we have the right people, we have the right talent in place now. We do want to do those things with you. We will partner with you. And so we really excited. We want to have you guys, if you can, I know at our next team building workshop here in Omaha, I think it's in September, 19th and 20th, I want to say. Kat'd be so proud I got the dates right.
I know she would be.
Right, is we want to have you guys maybe speak for just, half hour, 45 minutes up in front of everybody, because it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, that's Jeff and Andy and those guys, and yeah, they built a team of 40 agents and did all this. Well, here's a team that's much more relatable to my size, but still having that same amazing growth. Right? And they want to see it, feel it, touch it. They're like, I want to ask questions, right?
Right.
And so I just know as ERS, we're really looking forward to being able to partner with you guys.
Absolutely.
Because we are really, really lucky to have such a talented team right in our office. And we hope to be able to get you guys introduced, right? Because you said get you guys introduced to other people, right?
Absolutely.
You're like a matchmaker.
100%. And what I love about what you just said was you just talked about such a natural evolution for all of these things. And what we've been obviously discussing just in some of our conversations and some of the conversations we're having with all of our leadership is like what seems like a logical next step in that evolution is like, if the markets are going to change, or commissions might go away, or the state of real estate as we know it is going to be different, how would you love to have your coach be the kind of person who wants to be invested with you in the results, in seeing that you make it to the next phase of wherever we go, wherever commissions go, wherever ancillary services go, wherever all those things go? How would you love to be in business with somebody who is invested in you actually succeeding?
Absolutely.
And so,
and that's why we're here, because there's no rules.
Correct.
We can decide, right? We can say, because everybody's like, oh, you can't partner with and do that. Why not? Right?
Correct.
Don't never tell us no, right? So it's just ask us how, right? Because we'll figure it out.
That's exactly right.
So I love that. Byron, this is awesome. We're already long for our normal podcast time, but I mean, we probably should have split this up in a two-parter, right? That would have been awesome. But I really appreciate you being on. I know that everybody that was listening enjoyed this one. If you guys did enjoy it, please go ahead and give this one a 5-star review. It's on Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all of those. Give Byron a 5-star review. He's going to love it. He'll go back and tell Jack and Eric and say, hey, guys, I might need a little bit larger share of ownership because my podcast was the best. But always, guys, let us know. You can always contact us if you want to learn more about the Meraki Group, how we're partnering with our ERS clients across the country, all those different things. Growwithers.com. You can schedule a call with the man himself, Jeff Cohn. And then we look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode. And I want to thank you again, Byron.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.